Alrighty, let's get started. Thanks for joining us. For all of you that are attending right now, I know it's a busy time and it's hard to take time off during the day, but this is super important. I'm Erin, and my co-host is my husband, Jake. Say hi.
Good morning.
We own Straight Line together. We're pretty much a virtual firm now. We do still have our location in Massachusetts. My husband and I actually live in Florida, though. Fortunately, we're able to do that. We have an awesome team that helps and supports us. And we're growing actually nationwide. We have staff in other states. So thanks for joining us. And we're really excited about this topic. It's something that's near and dear to our hearts, and can't wait to talk more about it. Oh, there we go. So just a little housekeeping. All questions you can ask in the Q&A section. Go ahead and feel free to ask as we present and go along. I'll try to answer them as we go, or just stop and pause and answer some. We can also respond by chatting back to you. We're not going to be in the chat right now, but if you do have questions, just do it in the Q&A. We will have the slides, this recorded webinar, and we're also going to have an e-guide. It's going to be a actionable e-guide where you can take some action on it and fill it out. That's going to be available tomorrow. Everything will be emailed to you tomorrow. And if you'd like to speak and ask a question, you can just raise your hand. And when we get to the open forum portion at the end, if you'd like to speak, we'll just unmute you when it's your turn. And our emails tend to go to spam or junk. So if you don't mind just adding our domain at straightline.com to your safe senders list, that would be super. So I'm Erin Andrews. I was brunette, as you can tell. I am not blonde. But I'm the Chief Visionary Officer. I guess have the big ideas. I work on the business development, sales, and that's my focus. Jake can probably tell you a little bit about him.
Yeah, so technical title is CEO. I'm still very much involved with clients and billable work to date, but I work side by side with Erin with a lot of internal ideas, focus for our business, just coming up with
goals
for growth, goal setting, really focusing on working with clients to get past the traditional accounting role and into a more coach advisor role is what we're trying to focus on going forward, which we'll talk about a little bit today. So that's me.
And just a little bit about our firm. Straight Line's been around for almost 15 years. We're second generation accountants. My father's a CPA, mom's an accountant, and we took over their business and grew Straight Line. And we've always had a focus on small businesses and the owners. We love working proactively with our clients throughout the year. And like Jake said, we're really trying to get out of just being the compliance piece, meaning just file tax returns, do tax planning, and quote unquote doing the clicks for bookkeeping. We have a lot of tools, resources, and knowledge that is available for businesses, business owners to really, really help them grow, be profitable, be intentional about their business. And this is something that we are passionate about and the real focus of our business. So yes, accounting, tax, bookkeeping, payroll is all very important, but we need to use that information to make better decisions, to help our clients make better decisions and really grow the businesses that they want to grow. All right. So we're going to do with this presentation is tell you about our goals and our journey for the past year or so. And a big thing that actually, I think Jake says this a lot, if you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time. Right, Jake?
Yeah, I stole that from, I think it's John Maxwell. If it wasn't him, he probably borrowed it from somebody else, but he's got a ton of stuff, ton of information related to planners, individual planners, business planners that you can use day to day, just to really get focused, get narrowed in, which is very tough for business owners that are in the day-to-day grind. So it's for me a habit shift. I think that has to happen with goal setting, and making it a priority to set time aside to focus not only on the business but working in it, on it, but having things set up to move forward with your business.
Yeah, if
Goal
the
setting
business
is part of that.
Exactly. If the business relies 100% on you to get things done, for everything, it's not going to work. It's not going to be scalable. It's not feasible. But if you're able to take a step out and take that time, a few days a year, and then a few hours a week, you can see big results and changes in your business that you want to see. And it took Jake and I 14 or 13 years to realize this. So let us share our journey with you.
Did you, I didn't know if you wanted to go over, this is kind of ad hoc, but how we got to be here today with this webinar.
Yeah, right
I
here.
don't know if you were planning to tell that story. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the issues with not setting and following through with goals. Obviously, we hear about like New Year's resolutions and let's set some goals. I want to lose weight. I want to read more books or whatever it is. This is bigger. Goals, people think of like, I guess in a business, creating more, more revenue or something like this. These are also can be considered projects, like large projects you have, maybe just processes, things like that. But if you don't write it down and follow through, these are the issues that go on. So you have no clear direction for your business. Maybe you have an idea in your mind of what you want your business to be, but you never wrote it down. And the tasks you do on a day-to-day basis don't align with that goal. You're not actually working towards it. And also when you're making decisions for your business, how do you know or determine that they will align with your long-term plan? Sitting in your head, but you don't actually know like what's going, you can't align it with that. You can't match it up. It's not working in cohesion. And employee confusion on the direction of your business. So there's no buy-in from your team. So you might talk about all these great ideas, and I'll talk about that in a minute within our internal, how we did things. And I know like the focus, I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but the focus is really getting your team involved. And if they don't know the direction of your business, they're going to be confused. They might be resentful. They might not work as hard. People have a purpose for what they're doing. And I'm assuming you want to have an awesome place for your employees to work. And this is part of it. So having goals will actually show them what you want to do with the business. You also lose time and money. So time is huge, right? We don't get that back. Money we can get back, but if you're doing this, you're not focusing on the things that matter. You're just, okay, I gotta just get these bills out, which obviously is important, but we're focusing on the bigger picture. You have no intentional growth. People say all the time, I want to grow my business. What does that mean? Does that mean increasing revenue? Does that mean certain clients? Does that mean employee count? What does that mean? You have no true pulse on your business. If you have no goals, you have really no idea how your business is doing because you're not shooting for any of them. And then you're working year after year and not seeing the results you truly want. Enter Aaron and Jake. All right. So.
Yeah.
So
I think.
Really quick, I just want to get you guys. Really quick before you get. I just want to put this up. I just want you guys to. What was I going to say? To answer these questions to get your mind thinking right now. So you only have to answer the first question. I don't know why it's showing 3, but just answer the first one. We just want to see, just get your gears going and thinking about like what you're doing internally. So if you're setting any goals. And Jake, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I think just to hop on what you're saying, it's from a staffing point of view, I think, at least from our experience, our team wants to know why they're doing what they're doing every day. So if they're banging on a computer, on a keyboard, doing bookkeeping work, they really want to know what the end result of all of that work is and why they're doing it. So it's an important piece to include everybody in your business, your firm, whatever you want to call it, to know what the overall goal and intention is with your business. It makes a huge difference.
And that's important for employee retention. We know right now, well, really at all times, it's really, really, really hard to find, attract, and keep really good employees. So we have found that once we shared all of this information with our team, the buy-in was huge. The commitment to the company, to the clients, to each other was huge. So I didn't realize that this polling question had 3 in there, but thank you for answering all of them right now. I thought I had edited that, but
Almost there. We're 6 out of
okay.
more people, so we'll keep going. Looks
All
like
right.
a lot of you guys are saying yes to this question. So have you set any goals for your business or for yourself personally in the last 12 months is that first question. So,
And a lot of you say yes, but you're not following through with them. A couple of you are actually following through. That's amazing. Good for you. That's awesome. And it's kind of the same exact for the next 2 answers. So, all right, let's move on. So our story. So kind of what Jake said, we love big ideas. I especially love them. I guess that's why I'm the visionary person. But Jake is right there with me. What we basically would do was get super excited with this idea. We have great intentions, whether it's something for our clients, just internally for our team, and we would like word vomit on our team about it. And they'd be like, super, that's great. But you know what? We didn't set any expectations or no in any direction. We had 0 follow through or accountability because, you know, work would happen, tax season would happen. And so we weren't actually following up on them, even though in our minds, we're like, oh my God, we want to do this. The staff was confused and frustrated because they didn't know what to focus on. Do I focus on this new crazy idea that Aaron and Jake just shot at me, or do I focus on this other thing that they shot at me 3 months ago? I don't know. Also, our client experience would suffer because we would want to do these great services for our clients, but we weren't actually prepared to do them because we don't get anybody on board. And so basically nobody was winning. We lost staff over it. People would just say, we have all these ideas, but nothing comes to fruition. Obviously, ideas take time to implement, but we didn't show them that. We didn't show them our calendar or our goals and an action plan. It was very frustrating. We saw our vision of our business in a place that we wanted it to be, but we didn't know how to get there. We had an idea that we had to do this action, but we had no idea how important it really, really was. And we started implementing this, started actually working with a coach in October 1st of 2020. And when I tell you that we've gotten more things done and accomplished in our firm in the past 15 months or so than we have in probably 5 years, I am not kidding. It has been tremendous, the traction we have made with our company. We were actually just at another accounting conference. We're small, but we're actually one of the leaders of the accounting firms. We have the technology implemented, all the processes in place. We're a younger firm, obviously, but that doesn't matter. Anybody can do this. It doesn't matter how old you are or where your business is. If you're not doing this, it is worth every minute you spend on this, because then your time will actually free up for the things that you want to do when you start working on these things.
right. And then depending on what your role is and how big your team is and all of that, you're able to drive down work to other people that you probably shouldn't be doing. So that's something we're still working on, but I think you were talking about busy work and just getting stuck in the day-to-day. And I think a lot of people get stuck there and they don't see the growth or the potential in what they're looking to do with their business because they never get to it. So if you're able to focus in on some of these bigger picture ideas and really narrow them down and have an action plan with them, it leads to so many different things, especially with pushing down work to other people so that you can focus on the big picture for your business.
So the first step that actually Jake had to push me towards was, you want to take control. I went into this kicking and screaming, to be honest. I was just like, we don't have time for this, whatever. So we had to make a decision. It's time to be intentional with how we run our business. We could no longer use, tax season is here, it's as an excuse. PPP is an excuse. I mean, things do happen, but we had to be intentional. So you need to make a commitment to yourself, your team, and your business and your family that this is how I want to run my business, and this is the time I'm going to take to do it. So if you're not ready to do that, just keep this in the back of your mind, but this is what you need to be. It does take time, but that time is well worth it. I never thought I could take one full day every 3 months to go over this stuff and like in 1 or 2 hours a week. I thought I would not have time. I look forward to those meetings now. I cannot wait for them. And they are the most productive meetings that we've ever had. Jake, would you agree?
Yeah, I would. And I want to just give a little bit of context on how we made that decision to bring in a coach. We went through 2018, 2019. We had a tremendous amount of growth. Revenue-wise, we basically doubled. We had a ton of staff turnover during this period. And we were also hitting 7 figures revenue-wise, which was a goal years ago, but was really not important at all looking back on it. But that there's barriers or fences or whatever you want to call them at certain levels that you hit with your revenue, and you have to pivot and change when you hit these certain numbers. And we were there with $1 million. We were getting stagnant with revenue, couldn't figure out how to increase it
and keep staff.
And continue to move forward with all of the technology, all the tax changes, everything that was going on with COVID and mask mandates and all of that stuff. And we were like, we just need to bring in an outside voice, just a different perspective that we can bounce ideas off of, and really somebody that can keep us accountable to sticking to the rhythm of these meetings that we started in the structure of these meetings, which we'll talk about.
Yep, for sure. So, so you need to also understand this will take time and as a process. It's results that matter don't happen overnight. So I think you know that throughout your business, you know, anything that's important is going to take time. And then it's time to be the owner of your company and work on your business. We have so many clients that just say, like, they barely even have time for a meeting with us. That meeting with us is probably one of the most important meetings that they're going to have that quarter, that, you know, that's every 6 months, that year, because we're talking about their business on the business. They don't understand the numbers, and it's just, you have to take the time to work on your business. Yes, it's important for you to do that job. I understand if you're starting up a company, you really are going to have to be that technical person that's doing it, but you have to make time to work on your business or it will never be what you want it to be. And then more importantly, you should ask why you started your business, or you came into the business, or maybe you're a leader within a business. Why are you there? Why is it important to you? Probably a lot of you say you want financial freedom, or just time to spend more time to spend with your family, things like that. These are major reasons as to why you want to be intentional and start taking the time to do these things.
Yeah, and for us, I mean, if you think about accounting or just accountants in general, the stigma that's around them is you can't touch them, you can't talk to them, don't even try from January to April. And that for us has always been frustrating, because we'll go to a conference in November, come back, or December, come back with a list of 20 different things that we want to implement. And we're like, we can't do this right now. We've got to wait till really June to get started with it. So half our year was being sucked up by a tax season. And then we're trying to cram 12 months worth of working on our business in 6 months. And it just doesn't work that way. You can't do it that way.
And then throw in unexpected. But then if you throw in unexpected things like PPP, COVID, that put a huge wrench. These are adding on services that aren't repeatable. So we're not going to be doing these services again. But they have to be done right away. So if we hadn't had these goals in line before, like the second round PPP hit, things like that, it would have been a lot worse. So that was another reason why, because we had all these great plans and then COVID hit, but things are going to happen. That's business. That's life. That happens. So it might not be a pandemic. It could be a health issue, a family, something like that. So this helps you be prepared for that. So the next step is, you want to gather your troops, so to speak. So you want to have a leadership team, whether that's you and your spouse, your admin, maybe it's someone that helps you run your business. We do have 2 people, Erica and Amber, who are on our leadership team. They're amazing, but it could just be you, and that's okay. And like we said, we do have a coach, a trusted advisor. It's great to bring them on as well. to these meetings. It's just great to have, if you do have one extra person to bounce the ideas off of, and just kind of go through the process together, it's really great. And then you want to set aside a dedicated day to work on this as a team or even by yourself. Like I said, trust me, it is well worth your time.
Can I do a quick book plug?
Sure, you sure can.
Tied to that, Rocket Fuel is part of EOS, but
we don't make any money off this.
We don't make any money off of that. It's a great book. It's really about structuring the organization piece of your business. And like, we could probably pull up our org chart so you guys can see it, but you've got a visionary, which could be your visionary and an integrator, which for a lot of people is going to be the same person because their business is so small. They're a sole proprietor, solopreneur. You need both pieces to work together cohesively because you need someone to manage the day-to-day, but you also need someone to drive the business forward with ideas. And you need someone to translate those ideas down to your team and then back up to the visionary. So,
but that also might be you to start off with, and that's okay.
It could totally be one person. It could be you. If you have a spouse that doesn't even have to work in your business, but you're constantly talking about your business with your spouse, that person's a great option. And Erin's brought up, if you've got an admin or if you've got a project manager, somebody that you rely on and trust.
Someone that you trust, basically.
If you're okay with bringing them in to discuss literally everything tied to your business, then it's great. You really do need, I think, two people, or at least those two roles have to be distinguished.
Yeah.
But that's one of probably 3 or 4 from, I think it's Gene Wickman.
Yep. So once you have your team and you've picked out a day, this is actually from our first. We're being totally open right now. We're sharing our goals, most of them, and objectives, and what we went through for the past 15 months. So we had a big whiteboard. We wrote everything down, like what we wanted to do. These are everything. So BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, which could be increasing your revenue by $10 million. It could be just a sales process you want to document. Just think long and short term, write it all down. It could be like fine tuning your client onboarding, increasing pricing, something like that. By the way, I recommend increasing pricing right now. Inflation. But this is something that was super important. It's called a brain dump. That's what we call it anyways. It's for other things. And you just write it down, and it's really cool to see it in black and white. And you can see these red dots here on there. Those are the priorities that we identified, which I'll go over in a minute. But this is super important. That's why it's great to have another person there to just bounce ideas off of, because you kind of think of things like as you're saying it. But even if you just are sitting right now, write down a whole brain dump of list that you want to get done after this webinar. It's super helpful. And then we'll take you through the next steps. So yeah, like I said,
I don't know if you remember
small.
That day. I do, because it was that list was just so big and overwhelming with everything that we had come up with that we wanted to try to solve. That
yeah,
it's like how in the hell are we going to be able to work through all of this stuff? But once you break everything down into smaller,
we'll show you
incremental pieces with a plan, it's completely doable.
Okay, so we actually do this every quarter. Okay, so you guys already answered the question. So do you have anybody outside your business helping you accomplish your goals? And I'm sorry, the next one is, have you created an action plan? And some of you have, and some of you have not. So the important thing is write them down and then taking action. All right, so what you want to do is identify, after you have your big list down, you want to identify long and short-term goals, projects, whatever you want to call them, your BHAGs. So your BHAGs will probably go in your long-term goals, 3 or 10 year. So multiple locations, huge increase in revenue, dream big. We're going to show you some of ours. These are big things and then you do your 3 year. These are smaller goals to get to your 10-year goals. So a lot of them will tie into your 10-year, because you can't accomplish the 10-year without doing something in the 3 year, the 1 year, and then quarterly. So those are in 3 years is really not that long, right, Jake? I mean, we're already 15 months into this, and
we're almost halfway through our.
It goes pretty quick. Yeah, and then your 1 year will be broken down into quarters, but these are the things that you have to do over the next 12 months. These might not be sexy, right? They could just be, like I said, writing up a sales process, cleaning up a folder structure. It doesn't have to be something big and awesome. It can just be something that you have to do so that you can get to the bigger goals. So you can work, then you can start focusing each quarter on getting to those larger goals. So they should still be tied to your 3 and 10 year goals. But like I said, maybe you want to increase revenue, but cleaning up your folder structure has nothing to do with it. It actually does, because you can't get to your increasing revenue without having this folder structure cleaned up.
Yeah, it could be as simple as switching your billing from carbon paper copies to
yes,
QBO, or just
which is a revenue thing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so the next 3 months, so you take that 1 year and you identify the next 3 months, which is a quarter. So January 1st through March 31st, these should be 5 to 8 projects, goals, or rocks. They're referred to as rocks in Traction by what he was just talking about, that book, that help you work towards your bigger goals. Like I just said, it's hiring a new employee, documenting a sales process, maybe automating your collections process. And we're going to actually walk you through what we had too, so that you can see exact examples, and that it's not as crazy as it may seem. So, like I said, we're going to share our goals. These aren't all of them. Some of them they didn't fit on the screen, or we just didn't want to share them. But so 10 years, you can see our BHAG right there. $13.8 million in revenue in 10 years. That is a BHAG. All right. That is a big deal. We don't care. We want it. That was what we did. This is what we did as of 12/31/20. So it's almost a year ago. We also, you might not know this, we want to launch Straight Line University, and it has to do with webinars, online learning platform. We want that to actually be a huge portion of our revenue in 10 years. We want to have 1 to 3 podcasts. We want to be speaking regularly at key events, because I love being the center of attention. What's really important to our team, this is actually put on by one of our leadership, is our team regularly gets 40 under 40 awards, and we have a national brand established. So a lot of these, as you can see, how can we get here if we don't do other steps in the short, the 1 year, 3 year, and then so on. 3 year, we want $3 million in revenue, half of that coming from Straight Line University, hosting weekly webinars, because if we're going to get to Straight Line University, we have to do weekly webinars, right? We have to be doing that education to get to Straight Line, to get that 20 team members, and then a sales team established and humming. All right. So again, this was a year ago, and I'm going to go over what's happened in the last year.
Just super quick. If you're wondering, how do I get started with setting a 10-year goal and thinking out 10 years from now? The way I've done it is, what would you do if no was not an option? And starting there. So if no was never an option, what would you do? I try not to be realistic with some of this stuff. Some of these things we may not even ever do. Through 2 years from now, those 10-year targets might be completely different.
And we'll show that. We'll show that in a minute.
We'll show some of that stuff, because you have to be nimble. You have to embrace the change with what's happening day to day. So some things may shift, some things may get pushed to another quarter, but it's good to just stop, take some time, and figure out, where do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want this business to look like? What do I want other people to, when they think of Johnny's Construction or whatever it is, what do I want people to think of when they see my business name?
Yep. And so then our 1 year, and I want you guys to see our 1 year, host monthly webinars. So we're not doing weekly yet. We just want to do monthly, because we can't do weekly till we do monthly. All right. We want to build an AR trades course. This was for Straight Line University. That's what SLU means, Straight Line University. This is important that you guys, I'm reading through this, because you're going to see in the next slide what happened. We want to sell $200,000 in Straight Line University by Q4. So right now we should have $200,000 in Straight Line University sales as of this quarter right now. I'm out of billing which is a huge one because billing and our day-to-day finances takes a huge portion of my time because we have 4 or 5 entities, and I'm not able to do the visionary stuff, the business development, the working on the business if I'm doing the billing. That's why that's so huge. Evaluate practice management systems, so just internal stuff, that's Q3. Reporting packages rolled out to clients, Q2 of 2021. And then just to show you our first quarter, so obviously 1 year doesn't list out all of our goals for that specific year. I just was trying to give examples, but first quarter, these are the goals: align internal and external marketing, have that AR trades course, host 3 webinars, so once a month, document our sales process, document our onboarding process, become a mass grant vendor, that's a training vendor, and then connect with 4 associations so that we can help the contractor associations in Massachusetts and Florida. I want you to pay attention to this because I'm going to toggle back and forth between this and the next slide. This is not going to be the same as the next slide that you see. So now here's our goals as of 10/1 when we met September 30th, went over them. They're different, and some of them were not accomplished, which is okay. So in December of 2020, we did not know the second round of PPP was going to hit. We did not know it would be all pretty much on me for the most part. I did have assistance from my team, obviously, but that's going to have a huge impact on our goals, and that's okay. I mean, it was okay. I almost quit my job, but that's okay. But it was a lot. The second PPP, it was a lot, but it's okay because we had to help our clients.
Consumed our time.
So the check boxes you can see there for Q1, you can see we didn't do anything with Straight Line University. Straight Line University took a backseat to everything because we had to focus on the PPP and helping our clients. We did do host 3 webinars. It was all around COVID related things, but that's okay. So what we do every quarter is we evaluate, we go through, we do the brain dump, we look at what we accomplished. Some of those rocks might actually not even be important anymore, and they don't even align with our 3 or 10-year goal, because we also evaluate our 3 and 10-year goal. If you look at our 10-year goal in the previous slide, we had $13.8 million in revenue, right? In 3 years, we had 3 million. Well, that's changed. 12.5 in 10 year and 2.2 in 3 year. We have to evaluate every time, and we don't have 200K in revenue from Straight Line University until the end of 2023. So obviously we had to pivot, and we had to pivot because things happen, and that's okay. And I think with us not accomplishing some of our rocks, that was hard because I'm super competitive and I want to get 100 on everything, but that's okay. And then as you can see in our Q2, we have PPP set up there. We did accomplish getting reporting packages out. We did sign on 4 new monthly clients. We got job descriptions. So we did accomplish quite a bit in Q2. Q3 was different. Again, we were supposed to have our server converted. That didn't happen, so we had to move that to Q4. But what was huge, a huge one, is the billing and cleaned up and ready to pass off to Erica. Erica is now, I was able to hand off, it's called the finance seat, to Erica. She's doing all of our books and our billing. It's fantastic. It has freed me up to be able to do the things that I need to do to grow our business. So that is a huge win for us.
Yeah, it was a monster win.
The data cleanup and server, we couldn't do that because there was delays in the shipping of the server. So things happen.
Exactly. And I think having an outside, going back to bringing in somebody from outside your business is, we want to get 100% of whatever we write down accomplished that quarter, especially Amber and Erin. If you've
we like to
done
win.
Disc assessment, they're high D's on the disc and they're super competitive. They have a checklist, they're checking it off. We realistically can only get 75 to 80% of goals each quarter finished. We're going to shoot for 100, but probably only going to get 4 out of 5 if we've got 5 for that quarter. So it's good to have that outside person come in and say, hey, you guys are actually, don't beat yourself up. You're doing phenomenal right now. Focus on the positive. We got 4 out of 5 done. We can push that one other rock to the next quarter. It's okay.
Or maybe it doesn't matter anymore.
or it's just irrelevant. Things have changed. Something with the business has changed to where it's not important anymore. So that's always a question we'll ask when we review the prior quarter. Okay, what do we get done? What do we have to get done that's still open? Is it still relevant? Can it be pushed? Are we kicking it? So
Punting it.
it's just
punting
important to not beat yourself up and focus on what's relevant, what's still important, and based off of what that overall arching focus is for the business.
And one of the things I want to share with you guys is our process that we do to do this. So just bear with me a second. I didn't really plan on doing this, but I just want to show you super quick how we do this and how we take the time to do it. So 1 second, I'm just going to show you guys too really quick. It's just important. So because you guys are probably like, well, how do you stay accountable? Like, what are you doing? And Jake, can you see that new screen? Our operating system.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is taken out of EOS, that traction, that book Jake just showed. So we have our quarterly focus, we have our annual strategic retreat. That's the first thing we did. We made the huge big list on the whiteboard, which we make a whiteboard list every time, but it's all of us. We review the prior quarter. We have vision alignment. So we have 10-year target check, new 3-year picture, 1-year plan, our goal, our quarterly goal, rock setting. We go over issues that come up too. This dives in. This is actually a lot more than we're diving into right now, but we're happy if you guys are interested in going over something like this. Happy to do a webinar on how our system works with this. And then, so this is actually 2 days. We did this in October. We meet in person for it because we're pretty much remote, and it's super fun and it gets us all on the same page and fires us up because then right after that we meet with our team to go over it. I'm kind of going backwards here. We also have the quarterly focus days. So after we do the annual strategic meetings, we do have weekly meetings, but quarterly is where we reset. Sometimes we get discouraged during the quarter because we feel like we're not accomplishing our goals. Obviously things have changed. PPP is an example, PPP2, ERC as an example, because that has changed, popped up all of a sudden for, whatever. And so we want to make sure that every quarter we're meeting and seeing if we're still on the same page, redefining our quarterly rocks, and we do look at our 3 and 10 years just to make sure it's still cool. And then how we stay accountable to each other. This is one of the ones I had the hardest part with, was committing to a weekly meeting, an 1.5-hour weekly meeting. We have like an agenda. We stick to it, to a time frame, 90 minutes. Sometimes we go 4 minutes over. Every week we're all there. There's no exception.
No matter what.
No matter what. We have had kids in the background. We have had people like basically, and obviously if they're super sick, we just switch it to a day. So if it has to be, if someone has something going on, like that's a rare thing, we switch it to another day. We do not miss this. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. And then we do it and I'm like, thank God we did. But this is what has kept us on track. Everybody is on the same page. And it also has helped tremendously with our other staff because we are able to communicate with them on a regular basis in addition to the quarterly, because as soon as we do the quarterly meeting, the next week we have a presentation, we show them this is what we accomplished, this is what's coming up next, here's how these visions changed, like this is how you guys contributed. We go over all of our wins, like what went really well, some things we do go over what didn't go so well, and we learn from that. But this by itself has helped enormously. So if you think you don't have time for 90 minutes a week, you do, because you don't have time not to do this.
Yeah. For me, the key is the vision alignment. It's part of our quarterly focus and it's part of our annual focus with part of the retreat that we do with our full team. It's just important to constantly reiterate personally what that focus and vision is. If you don't have it, really determining what you want your vision for your business to be, because that will really tie directly to what you want to set for goals. So we didn't talk about the issues and how we handle those, but
no, I'm happy to do another webinar about diving into those things, which we'd love to do.
One of the biggest things that we did or are doing really on a weekly basis is any issue that pops up or is brought to the attention of either me, Erin, Amber or Erica gets thrown, we use Asana, gets thrown on an issues board. That issues board is reviewed each week. We identify that issue, we discuss that issue, and we try to solve it within that 90 minutes. And we prioritize that list and figure out each week what are the most important issues that we need to solve that week. If we can solve them that day, we do. If not, they turn into to-dos, but we'll talk about that later. But
Yeah.
that has been, those two things I think are the biggest, two of the biggest things that we've done. Because we actually were meeting as a group, not weekly, not consistently, without structure. We were
No
getting
agenda,
together,
nothing.
talking, not really an agenda. We go over stuff, we'd eat breakfast, we'd leave, and then we might bring up some of the things that we talked about. Documenting
There's
this
no
stuff,
no
keeping
action
people
plan.
accountable, and using that IDS system it's just been huge for us.
Yeah.
Just able to solve things super quick.
Well, one of the things is that we were doing too, and you might go through this. Employees, we'd have issues with our staff. It was not maybe it's their performance, maybe it's they just have something going on personally. It's brought up, or maybe they have an idea. We do monthly one-to-ones with our staff to just go over things. We review those in the leadership meetings, and we are able to immediately take action. We've had some awesome ideas that have been brought up by our staff that we love to implement immediately. And before we weren't doing that. So they see immediate change, and they see that their opinions and their input matters. So that has also been huge. Obviously, we're getting kind of off track here talking about the meeting, but one thing I did want to point out with this here is all of these rocks, they're called rocks each quarter, are assigned to a person on the leadership team. So that's super important. They own that. It doesn't
we actually
mean
didn't talk about that, how important that is.
It doesn't mean that I'm assigned to sign on 4 new monthly clients. That's all on me. That doesn't mean that's all on me. That means it's my responsibility to make sure it's seen, it's done. So I recruit people to help me. Erin Donahue from our office is assisting me with the sales. So I would bring her in. Maybe we have something else to do. So it's delegating the proper things, but ultimately they're the person responsible. So as you can see here on Q4, all team have quarterly goals tied to company goals. So we just met with all of our staff this week and end of last week or this week. And we have our rocks for 2022 all laid out. And we tied all of their quarterly goals for Q1 to one of the company rocks. So they also know what's going on. That's actually completed.
Yeah. The accountability piece with having, that made a huge difference too, because when you have a small business, everyone's wearing 5, 6, 7 different hats, doing multiple things. So if you've got things that you need to get done, you've got these rocks, one person's assigned, that person owns it, they're responsible for it. They can pull in other people like Erin's saying, but they're ultimately responsible for completing that. When we check that off at the end of the quarter, it's on Amber, it's on Erin, it's on
Or
Jake.
we don't,
whatever it is. But not that being in that gray area where you've got Joey's working on this project, but Tim is also involved in the project. No one's taking the lead on the project. Issues are popping up. Things aren't getting done. Nobody's taking ownership. Having one person assigned solves all of those
everything. And I also want to show, so you see on Q3 2021, financial dashboard services ready and 4 clients signed on. Half of that was actually completed. We don't mark it off unless it's 100% completed. We actually completed 3/4 of that. We just didn't 100% hit our goal. So we don't check it off unless it's 100% completed. Not like, oh, I just have to do this little thing. I had a handbook on there, okay, for 5 years actually. And we checked that thing off last quarter. I cannot tell it.
No, it's back on there now.
No, it's not. No, it's not such a do. And I cannot tell you how great it felt, and I never would have gotten it done if it wasn't a rock. So, and I didn't check it off till it was done. So just as an example, it doesn't have to be, you can still work towards it. Doesn't mean we didn't work towards every single one of these that didn't get completed. We just didn't complete it 100%.
Yeah, unfortunately, during these meetings too, we're going through to check status every week on the rocks. So everyone's going to say on track, off track. and bringing up why things aren't getting done and having to discuss it with other people just keeps you accountable. So
Yeah.
It's a great process to keep you.
And also, if you're uncomfortable having like conversations with your team members or anybody that might be like a conflict, go read 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. That will help you understand that conflict is great and having uncomfortable conversations is okay. That's how you get things done.
Right.
So 1 second, I'm just gonna see if there's anything in the Q&A. I don't think there is. So, okay. So this is how we do our goals. And this has been, like I said, we've gotten it maybe not look like to you. I didn't put all of our rocks on here. There's some stuff on here that I just didn't share. We have gotten so much done in the past 15 months. I can not begin to explain it. Our team is so much happier. It's just, we're just set up and ready to scale as best that we can.
I totaled up for, I think it was for, I don't know if it was Q1.
Oh, last one. How many issues we solved?
How many issues we solved? I don't know if it was a quarter of the year, but it was over 150.
Yeah.
So it's
Imagine
just crazy
solving
what you can get done
150
in such a
issues.
compressed amount of time.
Yes. 150 issues in your business in a year. Like issues, like what's an example of an issue? I don't know. Whatever.
Just it's really anything that needs to get solved, really.
Yeah. So this was part of the polling questions, which you guys already answered. So just who's holding you accountable? Having somebody, let me just actually look to see what you guys did here. So one of you is crushing all of your goals, which is great. A lot of you would like to have an accountability partner, which is like we've said, like Jake said, actually this year we met with him in person. He's awesome. Okay. And he went to our annual retreat and he goes, well, you guys have been doing this a year now. You're really, really rolling. You're doing this great. I can just really reduce my time with you guys. And we were all like, no. So when I tell you that we trust this person and our coach, he's just incredible. And just having that outside voice who's not in our business has just been amazing. And I just can't recommend it enough. So 1 second. Oh, sorry, I'm going back. I hit the wrong thing. So if you're super fired up right now, like we are clearly, there's a link posted in the chat. I'm gonna repost it again. And we're doing a free 30-minute consultation about this. Obviously, we really like talking about this. We love supporting businesses. You can just click on that link and book a meeting. We're going to be sending out the free e-guide tomorrow with an action plan for you to take. If you do want a free 30-minute consultation, we're just going to ask you to fill that out first. That's going to help us with the meeting and just see what we can do to help you get these goals going for 2022. Clearly, you can tell how important we think this is, and this is the perfect opportunity. Nobody wants to go through a situation with COVID again where you're not prepared. This will help you set up to get through things like that, to get through issues that you have with your business. We can send you book recommendations too for you to check out. We love books and podcasts just for you just to start learning on your own. But if I can stress anything out of this, it's really take the time. I don't care how busy you are. I have 2 kids. We run this business. Like we're really busy and we take the time to do this. And that's what you just have to commit to taking the time. And I just can't stress it enough. It's worth it. Those 4 days, those 5 days a year, full days and that 90 minutes a week will pay you back. Your return on investment will be huge.
Yeah. And with the 90-minute, the leadership meetings, they were very long when we first started. They took the full 90 minutes. But there's ebbs and flows with it because as you get into the rhythm of the meetings, you're solving issues throughout the 90 minutes. That time gets shorter and shorter. So we've had a few months
1 hour.
They're less than an hour. They're 40 minutes. They're an hour. We've had other times where we've gone 2 hours because we have, depending on the time of year, we might have more issues, more things that we have to discuss and go over. But as you get into a rhythm of doing it, it becomes part of your weekly habit, which is, to me, just part of accomplishing a goal is really creating a habit around what you want to accomplish and seeing it through that way. So it's been good. We didn't even really talk about our perspective with the financial piece or the accounting tax side of things, which I think will probably be another webinar on how to.
Yeah, we're actually doing another webinar
together with your business finance stuff.
We are hosting another webinar directly in a month. I think the 13th of January. It's not the first week of January because of coming back from holiday. It's the next week, Thursday, 11 a.m. We're going to have the link in the follow-up emails that you guys get. It's going to be a deep dive into the financial and like the financial goals, how to measure them, key performance indicators, the reports you should look at, the things that like help make a difference in your business, like the data itself, which is a lot of people don't understand that own a business. I did want to see if anybody that did comment that did want to share how they're accomplishing their goals right now, and if they have any insight and input into it. If you do,
there's a lot of different ways to write goals, set goals, see them through. Stephen Covey has the 4 quadrants with prioritizing time and tasks and to-dos and all that stuff. There's a lot of different ways to set a goal and see it through. So if anybody wants to share what's worked for them,
if you do, just raise your hand.
What hasn't worked.
And while people think about it, we are huge on social media. We would love it if you could follow us. My sister just took over a lot of our social media, so you've probably seen her face if you follow us a lot. She looks a lot like me, but we give lots of good tips. Social media, Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, all the fun things. It would be awesome if you could follow us. You understand how important social media following is for your business. That would be great. And we just like to talk to you. So 100% call, email us. I love to chat. Chad, yes, this is all going to be available and we're going to email it out tomorrow, the recorded webinar as well as a PowerPoint. My dog's about to bark. So we're going to have that available, Chad, for you for sure. And as well as the e-guide where you can take some action. Of course, thanks, Chad.
We should throw out some links for those the EOS books too.
Well, we'll include it in the follow-up email.
Traction, Rocket Fuel. There's I think 4 or 5.
Yeah.
In that series, that's all tied to really the most important part of the structure, getting the bones built correctly for your business, which we thought we've always had, but there's always different things you can tweak and tighten up.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll add those to the follow-up email. Katie, I hope you're taking notes. And yeah, this is great. I mean, we're 5 minutes to 12, which is perfect. I hope you found this helpful. There will be a survey directly after this. When I close it, we would love it if you could take it. It will literally take you 30 seconds. Just let us know how you felt about this. Again, follow us on social media would be great. And yeah, give us a call if you have any questions or want some help. Have a great rest of your week.
Have a good one.